I had an interesting question that we thought we would cover here, which is, does bad karma stick with you forever? If you've watched the other video that we put on this channel about karma, it might be helpful to watch that one as well. But the understanding of really what karma is. Karma is the beginning of the rising intent. It's not really the result of things. I know in the Western world, in Hollywood, and the way people use this word, a lot of times think that it's some kind of karmic or cosmic retribution system, that if you do something, somebody is watching and there's some kind of calculation that makes bad things happen to you. It's somewhat true of that line of something that you start to do and something that results from that, and then maybe there might be something that carries on. But it's really not so much about some kind of cosmic system as much as your own actions and what comes out of your own mind. So karma, as it starts to arise, is the beginning of your intent. You have an arising intent to do harm, or if you have an arising intent to do no harm or to be more compassionate. When we watch that beginning, that seed of the idea, the volition or the intent behind how you're thinking, that typically is going to drive your thoughts or lead to what your thoughts will be. So if you have a rising intent to be compassionate, you are more apt to have more compassionate thoughts, and those thoughts will eventually lead to actions, and then those actions, when they go out into the world, can have an effect. And this is ultimately, this cause and effect is what karma is. So it's an interesting question, which is, does bad karma stick with you forever? Well, again, if you look at karma as just something that arises within and drives your thoughts, and your thoughts create your actions, and your actions can have results. Again, we don't necessarily believe in reincarnation, but in rebirth. So the energy that you have is going to go back out into the universe where it's always been before. There's nothing about you that is going to remain to carry this debt anyway, other than what you put out into the world. So if you don't change your intent, if you don't change the arising intent or the volition behind where your thoughts come from, then yes, it follows you around, because you will end up having this negative aspect, this negative arising that will lead to more negative thoughts, which will lead to more negative actions, which will have a more negative effect as you put it out into the world. It's also important to understand when we talk about the subject that the things that you do, you don't necessarily always see an immediate response from. You can be very unkind to somebody one day and say something that's very hurtful. And it may seem like it was just a momentary thing. You've said something nasty, or your ego arises and you lash out at somebody. And for you, that is done. That encounter is over, and whatever you feel like you did, and you probably even forget about it. But the result of what happens to that person, that could stick with them for a very, very long time. It can do damage to how they view themselves, or it can cause stress, or it can cause their mind to start cycling. It could cause them to also feel bad and start to lash out at other people from this arising anger. So again, this idea of what arises within creates our thoughts start to create our actions. Our actions have the ability to plant seeds in other people that could be of good result or of a more negative result. So that chain, once we put it out there, can have a very, very long-lasting effect. We start to look now in the world that we live in of some of the things that have been going on for a very, very long time that weren't even started by people who are alive today. There's things in politics, there's things in the environment, there's things, inventions, and there's all of these things that happened even 100 years ago are having an effect on us even now, even though the people that originally started that are no longer here. Karma and what we carry forward is very much the same way. Whatever you put into the world can have a long-lasting effect well beyond even your existence. So that is why it is important to really watch what is arising within, have a little space to make sure that we're being kind and more compassionate, that we're not doing harm to ourselves or others in our path, and we'll have a better chance of that case to make a better world around us and have a more positive lasting effect into the world. Thank you.